Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your December 2021 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see what the tarot has to say. Virgo. How will Virgo be affected by the December 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Death card, which is Scorpio energy, and we have the Moon. I love this. I love this combination. I'm just so excited right now. The Death card is all about transformation. It's all about stepping into a new world. We have the last full moon of the year here. The moon is representative of Pisces energy. We also have Neptune making an appearance during this moon. So this is going to be very strong energy. Also, if we have Scorpio energy or Pisces energy within our natal chart, this comes through very powerfully during this time. Let's look at our inner self. We have the Ace of Swords and we have the Three of Wands. We have clarity coming forward. We're cutting through a lot of negativity, and the Three of Wands is a whole world opening up to us and for us. Then we have, oh, I love this. We have the 10 of Cups and we have the Lovers. Now, the full moon is in Gemini. A lot of things are in Gemini during this time. So with the full moon in Gemini, this is going to have a huge effect on us, especially emotionally. And we have the 10 of Cups. It's all like, this is the happily ever after that we've been seeking. So there's real power here. The Two of Coins and the World. We're finding our balance as the world opens to us. And this moon is fantastic for that. This moon is fantastic to open us to what we truly want, to what we truly desire as we step into 2022, as we step into this angel time, this angel year of new beginnings. The number 222 is the angel number of new beginnings. So that's going to be really quite powerful. Let's look at the energy we need to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Oh, goodness. We have to be mindful of the Princess of Swords, people who speak without thinking, and people who can just be a little bit vicious with their words, and not maybe even a little bit vicious with their words, and think that they're being sneakier or think that they're being more cunning than they actually are. This is a child, so, or an immature energy that's really coming through. So just be mindful of this. This person is playing games, word games, wanting things a certain way, demanding certain things, but they're not really good at this game. So just be mindful of it, that they're going to try and play it. Then we have our chakra energy, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. We have psychic development. This is our third eye chakra. This is us opening to our psychic development, to our intuition, to our emotional instincts, to ourselves. And that's what the full moon really brings forward. The full moon always brings forward our intuition, our emotional EQ, just really the sense of there is power in my instincts. There is power in the essence that is me. We also have to remember, Virgo, that our sister energy is Pisces. So our energy that can be the most loving, caring, most positive energy around us, like sisters can be, but also the most annoying, the most frustrating. They push all your buttons in only the way a sister can. So just be mindful of that during this time. So let's talk about things astrologically. So on the 18th of December, we have the full moon in Gemini. It's going to affect us very profoundly emotionally. This is one of the best ways to end 2021. The full moon in Gemini is very lucky, and therefore we are very lucky. This is because of the strong role Jupiter plays during this time, during this moon. We will have to be very mindful, because even though things are going to be going pretty smoothly, it's not all going to be smooth sailing. So just being mindful of a few hiccups along the way and not letting it pull us down. The sun is opposite the moon, so this affects us for at least the 2 weeks after the full moon comes forward. As always, this brings our close relationships into focus. We are also very aware of the difficulties in the different directions that we're being pulled. The sense of, I need to do this, but I need to do that. It's like home and work and, our time and everybody else needing our time and what we love to do and what we need to do. So we're going to be very, very aware of this. And we have to be very open and honest with ourselves if we don't want it to drain us, because we just feel like we're pulled in so many different directions. Emotions and intuition reach their peak under the full moon. And that's really what we see with the psychic development coming forward. This is a time to trust our intuitions, to trust our emotional understanding, to really see and understand ourselves. Our increased emotional strength and intuition help us see what we really need to focus on and helps us to overcome any challenges. We are also more aware of our subconscious understanding and will find ourselves relying on our intuition. It is also a significant end of a cycle. The full moon brings forward a significant end of a cycle and brings forward a lot of the things that we just need to let go of, a lot of the things that have defined us for too long, or a lot of negative energy that we've been carrying forward. This full moon is in Gemini, and it says the answers you need are coming. So much is being revealed. The last hours of the North Lunar Node will be in Gemini. So during this full moon, we have the last hours of the North Lunar Node in Gemini, and Gemini is represented by Mercury. Right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is now in Capricorn, making the energy of the North Lunar Node in Gemini much more rational, much more grounded, and it means that we will be able to perceive, articulate, and achieve what we really want and set things up for 2022, set things up for the year to come. There's just going to be a sense of really focusing on what we want to achieve and really embracing that direction. Now, the full moon is also going to be in discord with Neptune, meaning that Neptune is our spiritual understanding, and we have the strong influence of Neptune here at our root with the Pisces energy coming forward. Neptune is, again, our spiritual understanding. It's our sixth sense. It's our beliefs. It's our hopes. It is what we want. Neptune will have us looking at things from a higher spiritual understanding. We're looking down at our earthly plane. We're looking down at everything that needs to be done. We are going to start to really look at and really see our dreams, what it is that we want. It's not always going to be about the practical when it comes to Neptune. It's also about our dreams and our heart's desire and what's truly important to us and what really needs to be embraced within our waking world, so that our dreams have a part and get to be a part of our reality. This can be something that we find a little bit hard to balance during this time. Now, Lilith, the black moon, is in Gemini. This makes it so that we believe in something that necessarily isn't true, meaning that we really need to verify what we're being told by people, not, fall prey to gossip, look at things in a bigger way, through bigger scope, and not really act on anything until the 20th of December, when we see the influence of the black moon really clearing up. So it means also during this time, like, we could have somebody lying right to our face, and other people can come to us and say, hey, listen, this person is really not being cool. Like, they're not doing what they said they were going to do. They're not treating, you well behind your back. Just be aware of it. And if we confront this to the person and they go, oh, what the heck are you talking about? There is going to also be a way here that we really need to listen to people who we already have a rapport with, where we already have a connection with. So during this time too, it can be a little bit difficult because we need to verify things, and yet we might be dealing with liars, low energy people, and we're also going to need to trust our gut during this time, trust our psychic influence, our third eye, our understanding. So that's also going to be really important. The full moon is trine Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is one of the most positive planets, so this is really, really good. And Jupiter's influence is really quite powerful during this moon. This moon is positive. It brings us positivity. It brings us good luck. It brings us wealth. It brings us abundance, and it brings us happiness. We will be able to have and to grow spiritually, to have like a physical growth in our world, in what we want, in how we see ourselves moving forward, a spiritual growth, a growth in our personal lives, in what makes us healthier, in what makes us happier, in what makes us wiser. We don't feel as alone with this alignment because it's easier for us to share our feelings. We are also going to find great rewards in our relationships and through socialization. We will be open and honest with our goals and what we are looking for in life, which is very beneficial for us in personal relationships, in business relationships, and just in general with our relationships with ourselves. Just be very mindful of sharing too much with low energy people, because they will see our openness, they will see our curiosity, they will see our willingness to bring other people in as weakness, because we are not being the authoritarian rulers, the total dictators that they think power is. So just be very mindful of these people. They will try to sabotage us and they will try to cheat us, but we'll be able to really feel their energy, and also we'll be able to see their games. So just be aware of that. With the full moon trine Jupiter, this is also fantastic for the holidays and spreading goodwill and generosity to the world, so that's really quite lovely. The full moon is also going to be quincus Venus. Venus goes into retrograde 6 hours after the full moon. So this is on December 19th. I believe the full moon is around 11:35, Eastern Standard Time. I think that, in New York. So just be aware of that. This makes it tricky. This makes things tricky, but the wonderful thing about it is that, yes, we have the trickiness from, the full moon quincus Venus and Venus going into retrograde, but we have the positivity of Jupiter's energy coming in, which is much stronger in this alignment than Venus is. So just be aware of that. The full moon quincus Venus increases our need for love and affection. Things also can get a bit tricky when we don't feel our relationships are balanced. And this is going to be something that we just need to talk about. We have this beautiful connection with our emotions, with our hearts, with what we desire within our lives. So just connecting with our hearts and ourselves, that's going to be really, really good. Things, again, will be tricky if we're out of balance, because either we feel taken advantage of or we feel smothered. So just being able to express this, just being able to talk things out, just being able to connect, we're going to find that that's the game changer. This is also a time to act within ourselves. It's kind of like, I need to embrace and address these emotions within me, but I also need to step back and look out for my heart and what I desire within love, and ask myself, how are we loving ourselves? How am I connecting with the people around me? Am I putting up with things that aren't okay, that make me feel just depressed and overwhelmed? And why am I putting up with this? So we're going to have to ask ourselves these really real questions, even if we're not looking for romantic love, even if we're just talking about the people that are in our lives and the way that they are influencing us and affecting us, because we're going to find this to really be a game changer during this time. Now, the full moon is quincus Pluto, or Pluto is quincus the full moon. So this alignment can increase our imbalance in our own relationships. It can also make us really really see things really, really, really fast. That's a lot of reallys during that time. But what we see here is that we need to share our feelings with somebody that we trust. We need to embrace what it is that we desire, what it is that we're looking at. Family members, therapists, spiritual advisors, they're going to be really important to us. Friends, people that we can talk to, people that we can trust, even just journaling things out, releasing them into the world, maybe lighting, the pages on fire afterwards, of course, doing it safely, but just being able to burn away the excess of hurt or pain, or what's really holding us back. That's really going to be important, because it's going to help us avoid a crisis. And there's going to be a crisis of emotions during this time if we don't look at our hearts and we don't look at ourselves and say, what is it that I need? And it can be that I need a belief, I need a grounding, I need an embrace of the spiritual. And we might be having a little bit of a problem, maybe with the abstraction of things, with the abstract, with an all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful, being that watches from above over us. Because we can be looking at the world and saying, well, how can there be this suffering? How can there be this hurt? How can there be this pain? And so if we need to start believing in the more finite things, if we need to look at the earth and say, I believe in the earth that provides my food. I believe in the water that quenches my thirst. I believe in the trees that purify the air, the oceans that purify the air, that hold a whole world underneath them that we do not see. I believe. I believe in this earth. I believe in its people. But I also believe at times that we are not connected. And we need to be connected. We need to have this power guiding us forward. Venus is also going to be conjunct Pluto, and this makes us in love with the idea of being in love. We all want to increase our love and affection in our lives, but we're also going to have a tendency to mistake lust for love, because we're really going to be embracing eros. So that's the erotic love. That's where the root of the word erotic comes from, instead of agape love, or instead of, familial love. There's going to really be a need to look at love and not look at what we're sold that love should be. We're also told, if they love you, they just know. And that's not the case at all. A lot of times, the really best relationships are because of the openness of communication, because of the realistic expectations of each person for the other. And we don't talk about that. We think, oh my gosh, if they love me, they know. If they love me, they just understand. Loving doesn't mean that somebody's absolutely 100% psychically in tune to you every moment of every day. That's just not what it means. And plus, that would be very overwhelming for that person anyway. So just really be aware of this. Now, let's talk about the fixed stars. We have the fixed star Betelgeuse, which is located in the constellation of Orion. Now, this brings mental honor, promotion, wealth, and it reveals an immense strength within us. But the question is, how will we use that strength? So there can be some sort of, not necessarily crisis, but there can be something that arises that has us calling on the strength that is given to us by Betelgeuse. So that's going to be something very interesting. It is also known as the workaholic star. So just be mindful of that. We're really going to be into our work during this time, because we're going to be all or nothing. Betelgeuse does not do things by halves. The alignment of the power of the moon with this star makes us swift-minded, makes us strong-willed, makes us rebellious and restless when we are feeling controlled. It also makes us kind of rebellious against authority figures and can bring great power, honor, and wealth. But we just have to be mindful of how we're handling things when we're not feeling in control. We're feeling like somebody's telling us what to do. The constellation of Orion brings us strength and dignity, self-confidence. It brings us consistency, but it also brings us, no, it doesn't bring us consistency. It brings us inconsistency, arrogance, violence, impiety, but success with trade, especially overseas. So there's just going to be those things that we have to work on. The inconsistency that Betelgeuse brings, the arrogance, the violence. I mean, those aren't things that we want at all. The impiety to ourselves, to our world, a sense of why does it even matter? This can lead to nihilistic thinking. So just being aware of that is going to be very important. We then have the fixed star Polaris, which is located in the constellation of Ursa Minor. Now, this is not as positive as Betelgeuse, okay? So this star can cause sickness, it can cause trouble, it can cause loss of fortune, it can cause disgrace, it can also cause issues in legal and inheritance matters, and can get evil attraction. Legal and inheritance matters can get evil attraction under this star, so it can be a bit malevolent. This star is also the guide for what we need to look at and what we need to fix. It's going to kind of highlight the cracks in things. And it's going to say, I'm highlighting the cracks before they become craters, before they become caverns, before it becomes so big that we can't fix it. This star is also very, very important when it comes to nations and kings. So nations and leaders. So in astrology, astrologically speaking, the bear is a sign of evil. It's said to be a sign of evil influence, especially in regards to nations and kings. So this is going to be when our nations, when our leaders really need to look at things from a different light and in a different way, because this can cause trouble for them. This can have a big effect on the nations, and it trickles down to the individual. But I really see this being more of what our nations and our leaders have to look at. It's going to bring up the cracks. It's going to say, look at the cracks before they become the craters, before they become the caverns. So just really be aware of this during this time. But if you're like me and you've turned off the news because it's just too much, embrace that. Just embrace the quiet. Then we have at our root here the death card. We have the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new, the sense of the transformation that is coming during this full moon, during this need to become more than what we had thought we could be, to embrace our way forward, to embrace our passions and our desires and our instincts and ourselves, to understand that we are not the same person that we once were. And we can be operating under old restrictions, old pains, old hurts, old, wounds that were spoken over us, old negativity. And now what Spirit is really saying to us is that we're breaking free. The death card is the transformation. This moon itself, because death brings the moon, brings us transformation. It also brings us to the place where we face our fears. We face a lot of the hurts and the pains and the disappointments and the angers and the despairs that have held us back, that have kept us from embracing and seeing and enjoying what it is that we really want from our lives. The moon here is saying, look at the subconscious and the conscious. Look at what it is that we need to see. Not what it is that we want to see, but what it is that our soul is screaming at us to look at, to connect with. Or else something's going to happen and we're going to have to slow down and we're going to have to connect. So here, just be mindful. And it doesn't have to be something big. It could be we could get a cold and we're sitting at home feeling miserable and, just mindlessly watching TV, and we start to really connect with ourselves as we kind of doze off. So just be mindful of this. The Ace of Swords is clarity. It's cutting through doubts and fears and negativity. It's a gift from God's source spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, that makes things so much more clear, that brings so much power, so many insights, so much to look at, to see, so many ideas start coming forward. And this becomes a game changer as the clarity comes forward, as the tangles and cobwebs and, despairs and hurts are cut through. We see what we need and where we need to move forward, what we desire, what we are looking for, and where it is that we need to be. It brings us to the Three of Wands. It brings us to looking out over the precipice and saying, oh, I can do that. Oh my gosh, this idea, I can get this done. I can move forward this way. I can have my adventure. We might be thinking, I'm stuck. I'm stuck here, or I can't have the adventure here, or this isn't the right place. And Spirit's saying, look at it differently. Look at it differently and you'll be surprised what opens to you. The box is where so many of us live, and yet the box kills our creativity. It's saying these are societal norms. This is what's, expected of us. This is what success looks like. This is what beauty looks like. This is what power looks like. And it gives us this box. And it's saying, that's it. That's the blueprint of it, where it's reinforced through television. It's reinforced through media. It's reinforced through everything. And yet, if we start to connect with ourselves and say, where does my happiness lie? What do I need for me? What is it that I desire from my life? We start to break the box. We start to break the illusion. And as we break the illusion, we step into the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is love, is happiness, and they all live happily ever after. But the thing is, we tend to think of happiness in conformity. This is what happiness looks like. But what's happy for me, what makes me happy, may not make you happy at all. And so we need to really embrace the fact that there is a difference in happiness. There is a difference in what success means to each and every one of us. This card also always makes me think of the Nordic saying, it is better to be king of a cottage than servant in a castle. It is better to be king of a world that we can afford, of looking at our security and our safety and saying, this is it. It might be modest, it might be small, but this is what success is for me. It might not be the multi-million-dollar success, but we won't have to be a servant to it, a slave to what it is that other people expect us to have. And yet what becomes just choking, strangling to be able to keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians with. So here it's really looking at things and saying, you know what? Everybody might be walking this way. I'm walking this way. And I'm perfectly happy with it. It brings us to the lovers. It also brings us to the power of the heart of this moon, where it's saying, embrace what you love, embrace your passion, embrace your beauty, embrace what you desire, and open up that door. The lovers comes in, and we say, I get to fall in love with my life. I get to fall in love with what I desire from my world and for myself, and I get to open up to this reality. And it brings us to the Two of Coins. It brings us to the public arena world, where it says, you're trying to balance everything for everyone. Why aren't you balancing you? Why aren't you putting your feet firmly on the ground and planting yourself in the reality that you want? We can be like Ents, right? Like Tolkien's Ents, and get up and walk, be the trees that move. But we need to plant ourselves. We need to root ourselves. We need to grow ourselves. And then as we learn, then we can move. Then we can see. Then we can discover more. But if we're not balanced, if we're trying to do everything and yet in a state of chaos, we won't be able to do anything. And it moves us then to the world. It moves us to the world opening to us in the most brilliant of ways, in passion, in insight, and ideas, in, dreams and desires. We see ourselves becoming more than we expected. And we see ourselves walking forward in a way that is breathtaking. We're finding our space in the world. And it doesn't mean that the world has to shout our name, because how terrible would that be? You couldn't go to your local coffee shop without being mobbed. This is a time where we get to say, this is the beauty of my world. This is the connection on my block. These are my neighbors. This is my family. This is what I desire from my world. And I'm moving forward with a radiance of heart, with a beauty of self that is transformative. It brings us to our Luna message. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. So at our root is a win-win outcome is forecast, sovereignty. We have sovereignty over our existence, over what we desire. The Queen of the Moon comes forward, and the full moon in Libra is here, and it says a win-win outcome is forecast. The balance comes, the harmony comes. We become the rulers of our world. Now, can that mean that Polaris affects us a little bit more because it's seeing us as a ruler? Maybe. But what we are doing here is we're taking our power as an individual. Not the power that we have over others, the power that we have as an individual. And we're embracing the intensity of this moon, and we're seeing it with beauty and with dignity and with fire of ourselves. And it brings us then to our lunar inner self. And it says it's time to take action. Will you? Will you take action as the world opens to us? Will you take action as we start to see things differently and passionately and insightfully? Will we embrace this change? And it's the new moon in Aries. It's through the darkness of the fire of the general, of the god of war, that we are seeing ourselves take action to what we need, to what we desire, to who we are. And everybody has an opinion. I remember one of my first bosses, and it's a bit crude to say, but he would say to me, Dane, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they usually spew shit. And I remember just dying. I was very little. I was like a tween. I think I was like around 11 or 13 during this time. He's like, don't take what everybody says so seriously. But I used to. It was such a lesson. It was such a growth and a process that took so long to be able to realize. Take action. Take action in the way that you want to construct your world, not in the way that everybody is telling you you have to. And will you do it? That's the question. It moves us to our Luna. What is it? Emotional self. And it says a personal issue reaches resolution as we're embracing our dreams and our hearts and what we love. As we are having fire and passion move us forward, it brings new beginnings. This is the new moon, which I believe is on the 2nd or the 1st of January. And so here we walk through on this new year with this power of this new moon in this beginning of a new cycle. and personal issues have reached resolutions. Things have become clearer. And it moves us to our lunar public arena self. And it says it's time to release negativity. The full moon in Scorpio. It's time to release negativity. It will bring you pleasure. It will bring you freedom. It will bring you joy, to release the negativity that has been holding us back for just way too long. Our subconscious lunar message is the full moon in Virgo. It's the full moon of ourselves. And it says, you are good enough. Virgo, you are good enough. You are enough. And you are powerful. And then we have growth. By realizing this, we grow. By realizing this, we become more than we realized. Our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the King of Swords. This is a person who thinks they know it all. This is a person who could be cruel and manipulative within their words, who can cut people down at the knees and not even blink. Be mindful. Be mindful. It's with the words, Virgo, we have to be very mindful of. And then we have the third eye chakra, our subconscious chakra message, clarity. We are having so much clarity come our way by embracing the psychic development. It moves us to our subconscious rooted energy. It's a tower. This is a time of profound change. This is a time where things do not stay the same. And it's not bad. It's actually very powerful. It's very brilliant. It moves us to our subconscious inner self. And it's the Four of Wands. It's celebration. It's happiness. It's joy. It's passion. It's a celebration like a wedding. So it's something where we gather and we are joyous. It's like the holidays. We gather and we are joyous. And there is beauty and there is brilliance here and there is love. Are we celebrating, or are we merely fighting to survive? Are we celebrating our lives? And what would celebrating our lives look like? Has it been so long since we've done it that we don't even know? It moves us to our subconscious emotional self. And that's the Ten of Wands. It's time to put down the burdens we've been carrying. It's time to put down everything that has made it so that we only see the dirt on our shoes, so that we only see the workload that we have. Now it's time to release and start to create. It's time to say to people, you have to carry your load too. I cannot carry you for you. We take care of our responsibilities. I'm a huge believer, in responsibilities. I'm a huge believer in taking care of our world and ourselves, and of the connection of family and friends and community. I think that's so important. I actually think that's a lot of what we've lost in our world, where we can all be so disconnected. It's important to connect. And here we're looking at the load that we carry, and we're starting to release it because it's weighing us down. It moves us to our subconscious public arena self. And that's the Five of Wands. We're so used to fighting, especially in the waking world. We're so used to the fighting. We're so used to the chaos. We're so used to the anger. And this is going to be a very easy energy to fall into. Spirit's saying, don't take the easy road. Don't take the baseline energy vibration. It's so easy for it to steal everything away from us. Don't fight. Don't. All right, Virgo. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as we embrace the power and the intensity of this full moon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Virgo, and may you have a blessed moon.